Final witness on this first panel is the Honorable Representative Grace Meng. Congressman Meng represents the 6th Congressional District of the Empire State, New York, includes Flushing, Bayside, Fresh Meadows, and other portions of northeastern Queens. She's been in Congress since 2013. Congressman Meng, you're now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman Nadler, Chairman Cohen, Ranking Member Thompson, and distinguished members of this committee for organizing today's hearing. The topic is discrimination and violence against Asian Americans. Some of us seem to be going a little off topic. I'm not sure why. For over a year, Asian Americans have been fighting an additional virus of hate and bigotry. Anti-Asian rhetoric like China virus, Kung flu, misinformation, racism have left Asian Americans traumatized and fearful for their lives. Mr. Roy mentioned the WHO, and it's the same World Health Organization that actually said not to use countries of origin when we're referring to diseases. Since last year, there have been over 3,800 reported incidents of anti-Asian hate. But we know that the majority of incidents go reported. And in fact, nearly 70% of reported anti-Asian hate incidents have happened to Asian American women. In fact, just this week, we saw the terrible news about the 6 Asian women who were shot and killed in the Atlanta area. Our community is bleeding. We are in pain, and for the last year, we've been screaming out for help. Asian American discrimination, however, is not new in this country. From the 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act to the World War II incarceration of Japanese Americans, and from the 1975 police brutality in Manhattan's Chinatown to the 1982 murder of Vincent Chin, discrimination against Asian Americans is a shameful part of our history. Unfortunately, so much of this history is not taught in our schools. Excluding Asian Americans from our history books renders us invisible and deems us the perpetual foreigner. In fact, history has excluded the history of Asian Americans, Black Americans, Latino and Native Americans, and that has led to the systemic inequities at many institutions, including our academic institutions. In the 116th Congress, I introduced my resolution to condemn anti-Asian sentiment related to COVID, and I was grateful my resolution passed the House with bipartisan support, except for 164 of our Republican colleagues who voted against it, even though some had the audacity to tweet condolences after Atlanta's tragedy. I'm glad to hear about my colleague, Representative Steele's resolution, and I hope that she has better luck getting her party to support the resolution. During this last year, it became painfully apparent that we need a comprehensive effort from our local communities to the federal level. That's why I support bills like the No Hate Act, and that's why Senator Hirono and I introduced the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act, which would assign a point person at the Department of Justice to quickly review hate crimes and to make it easier for people to report these incidents. My bill also builds on President Biden's presidential memorandum by directing relevant federal agencies to work with community-based organizations to find ways to talk about the virus in a way that is not racist. I urge my colleagues on this committee for swift consideration of these bills. We cannot turn a blind eye to people living in fear. I want to go back to something that Mr. Roy said earlier. Your president and your party and your colleagues can talk about issues with any other country that you want, but you don't have to do it by putting a bullseye on the back of Asian Americans across this country, on our grandparents, on our kids. This hearing was to address the hurt and pain of our community and to find solutions, and we will not let you take our voice away from us.